All right, so today we're doing a custom trailer hitch wiring setup on a '07 Range Rover Sport, which just also applies for the LR3 too. So we're kind of going to go over what we're doing. So here I have this Hopkins trailer brake, which has the 7 flat and then it has the 4 flat. So earlier, I was just going to do the 4 flat, but so I kind of changed my mind on that. So what we're going to do is, it is going to get a little wonky. They do make 7 flat converters. I'm going to give you like the actual, like, I'll tell you how to wire and everything, but the wires that I'm going to be using, I'm going to take from this old setup here to help wire in the rest of the 7 flat, because originally I was going to do the 4 flat, but I changed my mind halfway through. So it's going to be kind of a mix of, you'll understand how to wire the 4 flat in directly, because it's going to be the 4 flat, like, where'd it go? The 4 flat, the 4 flat wiring here, but also some additional stuff for the 7 flat, but it's not going to be the exact coloring. So you can wire it in either the traditional configuration or SAE configuration. Don't matter, because in this scenario, the 4 flat's going to be in a traditional standpoint, and then with the rest for the 7 is not. So in addition, this isn't going to have a trailer brake controller, but what it will add is reverse lights and a 12-volt constant, which is kind of what we would want in case we're towing an RV. Don't have trailer brake option control, I don't have that option on this vehicle, so that's not going to matter. So far what we did is with Hopkins, this is going to be a minimalistic setup, so you can still put your hitch cover on. So what I did is, this is the Hopkins bracket for it. Measure it out yourself. I took this bracket. You might be wondering why I didn't just shove this in here. It won't fit. It won't have room. It'll fit, but then you won't have room to move up the cap. So I did some measuring and I figured out the best way to mount this, which I drilled some holes in here and drilled through the main bumper support to get a decent, accurate description on where I want it to be. Then I went by Harbor Freight and kind of got these screws here. Make sure to get a normal hex screw and then get a washer for it. The washer will go on the back, and do it like that. Get 2 of them, of course. And then that's kind of how it'll mount right here. So I'll go through that process, and I'm going to go through the wiring, the rest of the wiring. So essentially what you're going to want to do with the wiring is, there are 2 wires, like 2 blank harnesses back here. I'll pull them out as we speak. So this is the first main blank harness. I would have just wired it in here, but it's impossible because there's no fence for it. So that's one, and then there's a second one back here. You're gonna have to tap into both of them. You can, if you want to test the connections, you can take off the inner part of the plug to get to it without destroying it. But I mean, that's what I originally did, but I'll just show you. Traditionally, it's in the standard wire configuration except for 2. So this will be your right, left, etc. on one of them, and then this is probably an extra. For some reason, I haven't figured out exactly what that does yet. And then on this one, here's how I'll explain it. This is your tail, and then it should be green and purple, which is your brake. And then this additional green, and I think it's black, or just, that might be another green. Okay, yeah, green and purple here, which is your brake, and then green and brown here, which is your reverse light, and then this orange, which is your straight 12 volt. Don't quote me on this just yet. I'm going to test them again. I recommend testing it too. In the end of the video, I'll explain to you confirmed which is which. So just kind of cut them out, and we'll go from there. And when you're running your wire through the grommet, so in the LR3, they have an additional grommet, which you can cut or take out to have this put in, but I just cut a slit through the grommet and ran the wire through it. And then I'm going to have some wiring loom to go around it, of course, to prevent it from getting any dirty and things like that, just to make it look more professional, especially since there's going to be extra loose wires as well. So that's just for general install. And then this will just follow the standard general installing protocol. So we're just going to go ahead and continue with this. Okay, so pretty much I decided I was just going to plug in, I made this image here to kind of explain what I did. I'm going to put it in the description just, in case someone wants it to help them. This kind of explains how I did it. You'll see there are different configurations. There's conventional and SAE. Here's the conventional one. So in harness 1, you have your 12 volt ignition, your reverse, and your brake. Your 12 volt is going to be orange all the way through. Your reverse will start out as a green and brown, but it needs to go to gray. Those can run direct. They don't need to go through a converter. Your brake is green and purple. That's going to go to red into the converter. Your tail / marker light is also going to be brown. It's going to go into brown wire into the converter. Your left turn signal is yellow and your right is green. Keep in mind, and those two are in the second harness, but keep in mind that the right turn, there's going to be 2 green wires. I remember the left and right being right beside each other, not the one below the left. So keep that in mind. Test it to be sure. Those two are going to go straight into the converter, and then the ground to body, that's going to go into the converter. Just I'll explain that a little bit later in the video, how I grounded it. Keep in mind that the brake and the turn signals are going to be integrated near the end. So that's what's going to happen there. And then if you have a brake controller, you can wire in a brake controller as well. I didn't wire one in because I don't need it. Pretty much as simple as that. Okay, this is the SAE configuration. Pretty much exactly like the other one, except the colors are different. You'll just notice that 12-volt ignition goes from orange to black. The reverse goes from those 2 mixed colors into yellow. Brake from, red. Well, actually, no, the brake still goes into the turn signals. The tail light goes from brown to green. The left turn turns from yellow to red. The right turn turns from green to brown, and then the ground is the same and the brake controller is the same. That's pretty much all there is to that one. Not that big of a difference. And here's how it would look like if you're just doing a 4-flat or like a 4-pin. You just remove 3 wires. It's pretty simple, same straightforwardness, not that complicated. If anything, the hardest part of this is wiring it into the converter, not adding the 7-flat. That's why I ended up just doing the 7-flat anyways, because it was easier for me to just finish that than it was to just not, if I'm already going through that effort. So that's all there is to it. And here's a 5-pin connector. Basically all it does is it just adds a reverse light and makes it blue. It's as simple as that. There's not much to it. It doesn't have to go through a converter. That's the end of the deal. Now, back to the video. All right, so it's confirmed that purple and green is brake, and that brown and green is reverse, and then this is 12-volt constant, and then those are the left and right, etc. So, yeah, works like that. All right, so this is everything wired up so far. I recommend taking a picture of whatever controller you have on the back of it, the wiring diagrams, and go with it from there. So this is what it is. I use these like connectors with heat shrink. I'm going to heat shrink them in a little bit. But this is pretty much how it should look. Brown to brown, yellow to yellow, green to green, red to green and purple. And then for the additional wires right here, red to my yellow, and then that is the green and brown to just into brown, which is how I'm doing it. Just so you know, I figured this out the hard way. Land Rover grounds snap. Go too strong on it, they'll snap. Thankfully, this was an unused one. There's like 2 blank ones here. I just used a blank one and took the other one, but be careful, you can't snap them. It's just, I think, a standard 10mm bolt. Standard Land Rover stuff. So I'm gonna finish getting these heat shrinked and we're gonna move on. All right, so this is it heat shrinked. Now we can push it back up, which, by the way, when you're heat shrinking, don't be stupid. I'm gonna say it. This is an electrical area in an electrical box in a car. You can mess something up real quick if you're not careful. Be careful, like, seriously. I'm not responsible if you mess up your car. I'm just showing you how I'm doing it. People will mess it up, and just be careful. This is an electrical box in a car. Just be careful. It's that simple. Okay, so this is pretty much the final wiring setup. You can make it look more clean than I did. Although this is kind of to my level of clean, and I do it on purpose in case something fails, I can easily come back to it. So you could wrap it up in loom, but I'm not. So this is pretty much how it looks. Like I said, this is going to be your 12-volt outlet. This is going to be your reverse, which is green and brown. You got your left and right turn signals here. You got your tail light here, and you got your brake light here, which is green and purple. Now we can go on to finishing everything else. So basically, we're done in here. Ground there, try not to snap it. Basically all I can say. Okay, so pretty much you can put this in a loom now. Run this loom down. So what we're going to do is with this particular connector, we're going to cut off this 4-tail and we're going to wire in it into the 7. I'm going to leave a lot of extra room to desire here with this, just because better be safe than sorry. So cutting straight to the point with this, and then with this extra wire here, I'm going to cut it a little bit longer, just because I want to be safer than sorry. Because you can always remove, you can't add back, or you can't add back easily. So better to be safe. Like this, pretty much. And then with the loom, same, just cut it. Now with everything pretty much packed in the loom, now it's time to just sort of run it, is what we're just gonna do now. So how I'm gonna run it is I'm gonna run it through here like you will with the parking aid sensors, just kind of through here, which I'm gonna have to pull back out and through. I also wrapped this in tape just to be safe and sorry. So what I did is I ran this down, like I said, where the parking sensors go, ran it through here. So this is how it's ran down from there, through here, and then through here. We are gonna attach this. I'm gonna try to attach this. I don't just wanna leave a bunch of hanging wire. So we are just gonna use some zip ties. I don't have any normal like black type. I just have this white one, which is fine because you're not gonna see it anyways. But that's how we're just gonna attach it. I'm gonna use this one right here and feed this through as the first attachment point. So we just did 2 zip ties, one back there, and then we did one right here. Pretty much all we're gonna need to hold this in place. I don't think we're gonna need much else. I don't think this can really go anywhere behind the bumper support. So I think this is fine. Now the fun part, which will be actually wiring this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to attach it to the bracket first, but I'm not going to mount the bracket. So kind of how we're going to go with this. So that's washer in back, washer in front, bolt. Simple. This is pretty much the final wiring of this. 4 flat and 7, of course. What I did is I went on kurtmanufacturing.com, their towing website. They can give you a diagram on kind of how to wire it. And then, of course, inside it, it will also show it to you. And that's kind of how I finished this up. So now we can just sort of finalize it. And pretty much what we did is we just kind of closed up in there. And now we can attach it finally. Now that we're done with that, we can remove this off the bracket, install the bracket, and then put this back on. All right, this is pretty much the final. Both bolts up here are screwed in, one here, one here. It's really hard to do. So I'm gonna kind of tell you what I had to do is I had to use a really tiny spanner and then shove this in here to get it to hold that. And the one back there, if you have the right size tool, you can also get it up there and hold it while you're screwing it. This is the most complicated part out of it all. It's just getting this tightened. And to be honest, you could probably just tighten one bolt and you will be okay. But this is pretty much how this works now. So what's left to do is just test it. So let's test it. All right, so now gave it some time. Also, please ignore that I'm missing the H badge. I knocked it off last night with my hand by accident. Just happened, wasn't like that. Just ignore it. Gonna fix it in a few days. But anyway, this trailer hitch works fine. I did tow something with it. The trailer hitch itself, the one I picked up off of Amazon, which I don't really recommend keeping this if you're towing more than like 4,000. This is just because I'm doing really light towing with this car. I am towing a 4-wheeler with it. When it comes to me towing bigger stuff like an RV, which I'm probably never going to tow, or maybe like a big U-Haul, I'm going to swap out to the original OEM Land Rover trailer hitch, which is rated for up to 6 to 8. This is rated for like 4 to 5, like maybe 5.4. I really want to trust it. I put, just so you know, orange high-strength thread locker that's removable because I knew I wasn't going to keep it on. I don't have a torch. So also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to like a dealer or some shop and have them torque that thing down to Jesus and back because I did not really have a strong enough torque thing. Like you can see, I tried it, but I towed with it. I put this on it. It worked fine. It tows all right. The trailering wiring works perfectly. I'd say give it a shot. A lot of people also noticed I was missing parking sensors, or you might have noticed that. I replaced the parking sensors on it. Bumper's back on. Everything's good. So that's pretty much what we did. It's pretty much how it is. If you have any questions, just send me an email. My email is in contacts or whatever you need to do. I can help give you some advice on how I kind of handled it. Which overall, I think this was a really successful project. So thank you guys for watching.